Hello and welcome to the Christmas 2024 podcast with myself. I've got three special guests. I've got Paul Golden, Specky, and Harry Housewife, where we're going to find the perfect guest for the detailer, the valeter, and the weekend warrior. So, guys, here we go.
Which one's which? Which one's the detailer? Which one's the valeter, and which one's the weekend warrior of all of us?
Oh, we just got to find the perfect guest for all of them.
Okay.
And the YouTuber. Who's the YouTuber then?
Not me. I haven't put a video in 4 months.
4 months. I've made it a year.
Well, that must be me then.
Someone's gonna hold the flag, Paul. It may as well be.
Yeah, it'll be me. It'll be me. It'll be me. It'll be me.
He's like not bothered about that at all. He's like, yeah. Yep. What's that? All my competition has moved. Oh, what a shame. I guess I'll just keep getting all the views then.
If there's any interference during the course of this podcast, it's because I'm in Wales. just point it out.
Hang on a second. It's Friday night at 8:30 at night. How is it so sunny where you are?
That's the clips.
Different time zone.
West Wales.
Yeah.
It's so far away.
we dodged the storm. Wow.
Right, come on, Paul. Ask the hard-hitting questions. Come on, let's have them.
Come on then. So, the perfect gift for the professional detailer at Christmas. What do we reckon it is, guys? You got the whole detailing. Shops, online, anything. What would you buy the professional detailer at Christmas?
Alcohol.
Perfect gift.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair, isn't it? That's not a bad shout.
A year's subscription to Indeed.
I don't know about you guys. Now I've got more into this malarkey. If someone buys me something for Christmas, like a detailing related, I'm like, oh yeah, great, you know.
That's the thing. That's a fair point. When you are a professional, you're probably already kitted out for everything you need. So finding something that you didn't already have is going to be really annoying. The perfect gift for a professional is probably going to be something that would help that person in their profession, not so much as far as their equipment is concerned, but it might be, I don't know, something else that helps them smooth their business transactions along. You know, could be. Well, I mean, there's that. I mean, yeah, I think that's the easiest one, isn't it? But
£20 gift card voucher for petrol.
Yeah, I mean, smart water.
Are we talking about guys that are unit based or mobile?
Nothing really matters, but you can go either. Or both.
All right, if you're mobile, you could buy someone, you know, waterproof boots, the gloves, coats, all that sort of stuff, you know, clothing. If you're unit based, is a little bit difficult, isn't it? Unit based, it might be like a new paint depth gauge, something like that, you know, accessories, replacing stuff, because if you're doing it week in, week out, you're not going to have your eye on the ball all the time, are you? There's going to be stuff that you're going to want to change, and you know, so I get what you're saying. It's like a busman's holiday, and it's literally like buying a school teacher a new set of pens to do marking with. They're not going to want it, are they? So it's quite a difficult one. But I think for a mobile guy, the list is endless, especially if you're starting out. So there could be a crayons or something like that. But if you're unit based, it's a little bit difficult. You're going to have to look a bit more closely, maybe lighting and things like that. But you're talking about big bucks, aren't you? It isn't like stocking fillers, is it?
I mean, a Kranzel, that's a hell of a present. I mean, you'd have to really love that person to buy them a Kranzel. But remember when we talked to Rachel recently, and she said lighting is key no matter where you
Yeah,
are. And that's
absolutely,
not particularly expensive. So lighting might be a really good idea. You could buy portable lights, you could buy mobile with, on a stand, or it could be a headlamp or a handheld, swirl
Heaters.
finder, something like that.
Yeah, heaters as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Stuff like
mobile, and if you want to buy me a grand cell, you're quite welcome to.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. How about no? I'll have one for myself before I get one for you. In fact, I get one for other Paul before I get one for you. Sorry. Priorities and all that. But I mean, things like that, they're very, very expensive gifts. And that's the trouble, I think, when you're in the detailing industry, is that nothing's cheap. Regardless of what it is, nothing is cheap. If you're a professional, you could go towels and things like that, and you can get some cheaper towels. But realistically, if they're a professional, they're going to know which towels they want. They're not going to be waiting for you to buy them some Asda specials.
It's going to be hard to know what to buy them because they're going to have a specific, taste in things, aren't they?
Yeah.
They might like certain towels, they might like certain lights, they might have a certain brand that they want for. So it's kind of, you need to do a bit of digging to find out what to buy them.
Well, do the round table. What towels do you like, Darren?
It depends on the job. So I'll go for Rag Company towels for glass, microfiber. Do you know what? I've really started using their towels recently, and they're fantastic. I don't know if you've tried any, but the
one, the microfiber.
Yeah, microfiber.
Missing a few letters.
I just call them microfiber.
Microfiber.
I've been using their towels recently when I've been doing some stuff with Car SOS, and get that in there. And honestly, they've been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Never tried them. I like the. I'm going to say it because a lot of people will be thinking it as well. I love the Costco Kirkland microfibers. I think they're solid.
No,
they're not shocking. They are solid towels. They really are. They're solid.
Rigid? What rigid?
I was sitting there ripping the labels off of them.
Yeah, that's fine. So rip the labels off them. That's no big deal. Wow, here's a new towel. Rip a label off. Job done. But they're dual-sided. You got the short side. You got the long side. They wash well. They last a decent amount of time. They don't shred easily. I think they're a cracking towel.
I'll definitely check out the microfiber ones because they are fantastic. They're double-sided as well, or dual-sided. And I can't fault them. I mean, if I had to choose other ones, it was the Rag Company ones. I think Paul, and I'll give you all some of the Rag Company ones, haven't I?
Yeah, you did.
Those large ones.
They were nice. They were nice. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But you can't buy them in the UK cheap.
No,
that's
I've recently switched to Paragon microfibers. I've gone with Paragon and mild deep drying towels, which I believe me and Mr. Paul Valentin Supplies use the mild deep ones, which seem to be the most effective. But the Paragon microfibers are brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I remember Martin. He told me to check out the Paragon ones, and it was early doors. And I bought a few of them, and I was like, yeah, they're really nice towels. However, the stitching around the edges, they were using, it felt like they were using fishing line because they had some really sharp edges to them. And so the only real way to use them was to fold them corners in and fold them up that way to use them and make sure you didn't expose any of the edges. That was about the only drawbacks. And that kind of put me off a little bit. And then I was like, no, I'll just keep them for best because they were really nice. They weren't cheap, but they were really nice.
So yeah, I use the mold deep ones. It's I get them at a good price, so I just use the mold deep ones, and they do the job I need them to do. I've got about 5 of them, so. But, yeah.
I haven't tried the drying towels, so I can't say. But do you dampen your drying towel before you use it?
Yes.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
I mop my brow before I use it.
It does.
Lovely.
I've seen him do it.
Don't worry, mate. With your Alfa Romeo, I'm just going to wipe my sweat across the car. It's all good.
Or I use one of my socks and wring it out on top of it.
on top of your dashboard.
Yeah, Paul can vouch for this as I dried my socks out in between customers on the dashboard of his van.
He did. He did.
Which incidentally is a new limited edition air freshener we should be launched this Christmas. Essence of Filthy Sock. The Detailer's Sock stench.
Yeah. It's not selling very well, to be fair.
No, didn't really think that one through.
Yeah, that's kind of awful. I could have done with not knowing that one, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's a
And there
funny
it
color
is.
as well.
that looks like.
It wasn't. That's the wrong bottle, Paul.
I was going to
Pull
say
that
that
down.
that's a different sort of sample, Paul.
Oh,
That's
is it
got to
this
go
one?
off on. That's got to go off on Monday. You'll hear back in a week.
There's these funny coloured ones as well. They're like really yellow.
Oh, and yeah, someone needs a bit more fluids in them, to be honest.
That just looks like Tittery Jam's gin.
I wondered what you were going to say.
It is gin, to be fair. Copperberg gin.
Oh, I thought it was gin. See,
Down it, Paul. Down it.
I can smell gin a mile away.
Chug, chug, chug.
No, don't drink that.
Right.
Please don't.
If I
drink that.
downed that, I won't be here for the rest of the night.
I'm just going to knock this monitor off. Excuse me.
Why? What was wrong with it?
Film's finished.
It's getting on my nerves. It's getting on my nerves. There you go.
He was watching Back to the Future.
That's better. It's a lot better.
Talking of Back to the Future, and it is Christmas related. Has anyone seen Red 1 yet?
No.
The new
Oh,
Christmas film.
I've seen the trailer for it, but I haven't watched it
What
yet.
I want to know, Paul, is how did you get from Back to the Future to Red 1?
Well,
Speaking
so
of Back
the
to the Future,
reindeers- so on
Red
Red
of
1,
detailing.
the
How do you like your
reindeers-
steak?
the reindeers have to run at a certain speed before they take off. So Back to the Future type thing, isn't it?
Wow.
Isn't that the basics of flight? A plane can't take off unless it reaches a certain speed. That's not.
But these are reindeers.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm not sure if my computer's got another virus or not. I really not.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long
Put up
year.
with a lot
Paul.
of stuff. Yeah, I've had to work with
You
Paul
have
all
it.
year.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
Wow.
see, I'm
Wow.
thankful that I can have a week's break in between having nonsense with Paul. Week, and then chill, and then we come back on, and then I need a few days to get back to myself, and then I have to listen to the edit and do that as well. So people should sympathize with me because I have to listen to Paul live. And then I have to edit his voice and listen to it for about another 2 hours before the podcast is ready to go out. So
You don't know I'm here, don't you?
yes, I can see you. You're right there. I'm okay with that. It's fine. I'm totally okay with it.
Thanks. Glad you are. Oh dear. Oh
Was
my
it
God.
4 weeks running, weren't it, Paul? We're working together?
It was at one point, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where I
we're gonna
lost my
talk-
sanity.
Can I can briefly talk about that actually, because we've mentioned this on the podcast. Not to hijack this entire podcast,
Go
but
for it.
the respect for detailers and the people that do it for a living, because we've mentioned this, and you're on about your sanity, and we'll put this out there to the audience, and they can remark in the comments section about how do they feel about working on their own for long periods of time. And we don't want to go too much into the whole, mental health thing, but how do they cope? How important is social media to them to keep their chin up? Podcasts.
I don't know how they do it. In all honesty, I've been driving a lot recently, and I hate being on my own for too long. Like yours, Specky's, and like Paul's, and all that. Voice messages keeps me going. That's all I can say. Because driving, like the other day, I was in the car for 5 hours on the way to Manchester and 8 hours on the way back, and yeah, it gets pretty lonely.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. I've had many driving jobs over the years, and I didn't like any of them where I was on my own for too long. I drive a minibus, and so I'm thankful I get to talk to my passengers. I can have conversations with colleagues that come on the bus. I can have conversations with the little elderly people, the school kids, all these kind of things. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm too social a person. That's why I said, loads of people have said to me, friends and family have said, if you're so into detailing and you're so good at it, why don't you do it as a business? And I said, because it's a lonely business.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it by myself. Unless I knew I was doing something every day with someone, then that would be okay. But beyond that, being a sole trader, a solo guy out there all the time, It would be too lonely for me. I'd end up way back in my depression again. It would not be fun.
I think that's the thing, because I only spend snippets of time with Paul on a Friday, and he's only a day, and he's got to do that every single day. And I'm lucky where I work at a team of guys. I see my colleagues, every day. So there's always at least 4, even 6, possibly more guys out on track. So
Yeah.
I travel with a guy as well, so you get to talk every day. Probably see more of those than I do my own wife, to be honest with you. So I can understand it, but I think what I've seen this year is probably the more we've done this podcast for our ones, 4 years now.
This is the 4th year. Yeah, we'll be starting the 5th year in January. Yeah,
and you don't realise how important it is. So you get a greater respect for your audience when you're doing it, because you think there is someone on the end of this with headphones on or earbuds listening to this. And while you're doing it, you can think of them in a unit or outside. It just gives you a greater respect for them, and I think the audience will probably thank us for it as well.
Well, I mean, it's a fair point. What was interesting was when we started out the podcast, it was mostly for people like us. It was the enthusiast. It was the weekend warrior, that kind of person. But as we learned going to wax stock and things like that, we started learning that it was professionals were just as much a big part of people who were listening. We didn't know about it. When we bumped into Jim White at Wax Stock 23, was it 22? I think it was maybe 22. And we bumped into him and we were just having a quick chat with him, shoving the microphone in his face and getting a quick interview. And he said, "Yeah, I remember when you were talking about it on the podcast." Paul and I looked at each other like, what did he just say? He listens. And then, so this is what we didn't realize. And then when we said that, we got a bunch of other messages, or I got a bunch of other messages from other detailers and professionals saying, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. Again, it's that whole busman's holiday. You think, why do you want to hear about it all the time? But if it's your day in, day out, if it's your daily bread, all that stuff, if you want to know what's going on in the industry, you want to know if there's any news that's worth talking about, it's important to you. So we didn't realize just how many professionals we had listening, and how many have said to us, we need it because you guys are a laugh, and it gives us, something you're talking about that I understand, that I follow, that I'm interested in, but I can also have a giggle. And that was quite mind-blowing.
One thing I'm enjoying your guys' podcast more now, because I know I kind of got a job that kind of involves social media now, but I don't generally pay attention to what's going on in the social media anymore. So for the last probably 6 to 8 months, I feel very isolated away from everybody because I've not been looking into it. I log on to Facebook, post what I need to post, and I'm gone. I don't sit and read. So your podcast has really given me that. In the last year, sort of 6 to 8 months, has given me like what's going on in the detailing world. Like you're kind of like the news for me. I turn you on to hear what's happening.
It's funny, but it's strange because Paul, Mr. Valentin Supplies up there, the host over there, who's gone rather quiet. We're gonna probe him. Look, if I go like that, I can just about reach the corner like that. He what people don't realise is that Paul tests a lot of stuff. So although Paul is not out on Instagram all the time and he's not posting stuff, he does real world testing, which is great for me because I get to test some of the stuff he's testing and then put it on video. But there is always something going on, and the news. What people don't realise is that Mr. Specky up here, which I should just probe him like that, just under his chin. He probably has more up to date news than I do, but then I'm doing the testing in the background, so that you get two lots of information coming into the podcast. You'll get the more relevant stuff coming from Mr. Specky up there, and you'll get the stuff that I've been doing in the background. So there is always something going on, and of course, Darren, you're in it all the time now, aren't you? As a job.
I am, but I'm in a really weird way. I feel very isolated from the detailing community because I am doing it for a job, and I'm focusing solely on the brand and what I'm doing for the brand and making content for the brand. I'm not actually paying attention to anything else that's going on. So new products, because I've got what I need and I'm working for a certain brand, I don't pay attention to what new brands are coming out anymore. I couldn't tell you who's coming out the last 6 months. I really couldn't. And I couldn't tell you when I've used another product from a different brand. But honestly, I haven't used anything other than Dodo Juice since
1983.
Literally, it feels like it. It's been a whole year since I've tried a single product, and I'm not against trying them. It's just I haven't had time to.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's slowed down considerably. And I think Paul would even say this as well. We used to see new brands coming in on the scene every other week. Specky would see it, Paul would see it. You know, we'd see it all the time, and I think it has slowed down a lot. And because of that, I mean, I haven't turned my back on it, but I've kind of like it that side of the channel and the sort of review sector is kind of really slowing down. We rode that wave of COVID, and off the back of it, things have really. We spoke about it on the podcast ourselves. I mean, Paul spoke about it. The fact that it has really, really calmed down, and it's gone very quiet. It's not to say there's not innovation out there, because there is innovation, but it's not so much of the scene stuff that you used to see on Instagram week in, week out. So you haven't really missed a lot, Darren, to be honest with you.
I think for me, I mean, I started to focus mainly on tools and accessories and stuff. And I'm not going to lie, I have, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Batoka, however you want to say it, have sent me out their whole catalogue of cordless polishers that I need to work through. But I'm still like 2 or 3 videos behind. I've got the Shine Mate EB210 that I've just finished filming that I need to edit and put together. I've got a Flex video. I've got all sorts. I've even got a Rupes, however you want to say it. I've got one of their little machine polishers as well to get the video out on. And it's just haven't got time.
You know, you could share them, and I could take some of the load off.
Some of them have got to go back. Unfortunately, some of them have got to go back.
I have offered.
Yeah.
But it's just having time. But like I said, the podcast, I used to hate podcasts. Even though I do one myself, I hate listening to podcasts. And yours is probably one of the only ones I've listened to religiously. And I still do. It keeps me sane.
The thing is, I mean, in a way, it keeps us sane, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's why. Yeah,
that's a big part of it as well. Is that we can vent, we can rant, we can talk about the things that are on our minds. We can,
I mean,
have arguments about it.
There are times, and I think I've messaged you at times where I have disagreed with a guest on your podcast, and I start shouting at the radio, and I'm like,
recently, just recently, actually,
very recently.
I'm going to send them a message, and yeah.
But it was interesting because you weren't the only person to get in touch about that, and I had messages from both sides of the argument. Some people saying, "I totally get it. That makes sense. I understand that," and others like yourself saying, "That's absolute tosh. What you're talking about." So.
I get it. I do get it. I do get people's point of view, but at the same time, it's wrong because it's not the same point of view I've got, so it's wrong.
But that's the point. This is something that I had worked out, was that the people who agreed with that particular situation were the professionals. The people who didn't agree were the enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So, and that's down to the mindset. So I was recently having a conversation with a detailer, full-time professional detailer, and he said, I get where this person is coming from, because time is money. You got to think about what you're doing. You're going to fire through cars, especially if you're mobile. You got to get through as many cars as you can. You can't waste time on things just because you think that it should happen. At the end of the day, you do what the customer wants. There's that customer expectation.
I'm going to let you into something now. Me and Paul have a friend that does quite a few high-end cars, and I still think this is completely bonkers. However, unless they get a car in that's caped in mud, like, if it's a car that's coming with a bit of, dust on or whatnot, and they're doing it for a machine polishing job or a coating job, they don't even wash the car. They wipe it down with glass cleaner. They literally wipe the whole car down with rags and glass cleaner.
I've had this conversation with the other Paul about this. We've spoke about this.
Yeah, and I've stopped doing it.
Yeah, he's stopped wiping it down with his underwear now. He leaves his pants on now.
But it makes sense. I mean, unless the cars are caked in mud, and I've seen it. I've personally seen it recently, and it makes sense. Although it sounds completely nuts, it makes sense.
Well,
I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. No, because glass cleaner. No, I don't agree with that. I agree to a certain extent. The kind of the waterless wash wipe down if it is just a light layer of dust. I get that. That's okay. If it's got a ceramic coating on it, there's some protection there as well. So I'm going to say in that situation, maybe wiping it down with glass cleaner. That's a no. I don't understand the reasoning behind that at all. That doesn't make sense. Wipe down the glass with glass cleaner, fine, but not
Like I said,
the bodywork.
I genuinely, until you see it yourself, and it makes sense because they are there to polish, they are there to correct, they are there to do dry sanding.
But that's the thing. So I
That's what
will
their jobs
agree. I will agree if they are going to correct it.
Yeah,
If they're wiping it down to correct,
they don't do any other jobs in corrections or paint enhance.
Okay, all right. Well, now you see, so then my opinion is changing then, because then it doesn't matter what you do to the car, you're going to be correcting it anyway.
Yeah.
The drawback with that, my argument would be that you could be adding more work for yourself, because you could be adding a scratch in there that wasn't there before, and now you've given yourself an extra bit of job.
Yeah,
there's several arguments there, because the first one I've got, which I really do think is a strong argument, is you are degrading clear coats. You're taking clear coat off. So if you do, even if you completely drench that car in the chemical, i.e. glass cleaner, and you do inflict anything on that car, whether it be a micro swirl, a random DA, anything, random deep scratch, should I say, anything on that vehicle, you've then got to degrade the clear coat even further. So you're taking more clear coat off.
Yeah.
We get that you're correcting it, but to what degree? If the car was limited to the amount of infliction on the clear coat, if it's limited in the fact that you don't inflict too many, bits of marring and whatever, then you haven't got to do so much correction work. So yeah, like Specky says, it limits the amount of correction work, but it also prolongs the life of the clear coat, because you haven't got to shave off, because all you're doing is shaving off clear coat to come down.
Well, I mean,
coming down later.
Isn't this the whole purpose of the development of the safe wash? Was the whole idea was to preserve your clear coat anyway? Because I understand you could polish out anything and you can get rid of damage, but when you get rid of damage, there's only so much you can get rid of.
But
there's a finite amount of lacquer on your car.
Is it any worse than someone going in with just a bucket and sponge and no pre-wash?
Yeah, but two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. It is both
they're
wrong,
going to be
isn't
in
it?
different situations.
Yeah, you're still degrading clear coat, aren't you? You're taking. You can't put on. I've said this. I said it in one of I think it was my last video. You can't put clear coat back on. Once you've degraded it and you've shaved it off with a really heavy cut compound, you can't just suddenly go, oh, I'm just going to go to the back of the van and get some more clear coat out, and suddenly just whack it back on the panel. It's gone.
Just to clarify, I would not do it because it would make me very angry and cry if I cleaned a car like that. I'm still very like.
I can just imagine you. Why am I doing this? It's awful.
I must admit, I
You
have
can see his next video, can't you?
My little Skoda does get abused when I wash it because I couldn't give a shit about it. I just like it clean. I am like that 18-year-old man.
If there's the guy that washes his car with no pre-wash and a bucket and sponge, he's not the kind of guy that's going to care about his paint at all. Anyway, he wouldn't go to a detailer and say, please correct all my scratches. He doesn't give a monkeys. So again, it's managing the expectation of the client, the customer. Who is it and what do they want? What do they need? If they respect a clean car, but they've never gone to look at their paint, they've never looked at what swirls are, they've never grabbed a swirl finder, any of that stuff, then fine, you can wash it however you like, because at the end of the day, the car will be clean, shiny, plastics will be blackened up, tires will be all darkened, and they're going to go, "Ooh, isn't that lovely?" It is the expectation. So you have to make sure that it's for that specific. It can't just be a generalized across the industry, broad stroke thing where you say you shouldn't do this and you should do that, because it's always specific to the individual customer.
So to answer your question, Paul, I'd buy the professional detailer a gallon of glass cleaner.
That particular one.
For Christmas, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't buy me
so instead of asking the question, what would you buy someone else? If you were in you were in the shoes of the person, what would you want? Let's say you're the professional detailer. Apart from that, because at the end of the day, it's to help you with your job. And think about it. If you're a professional detailer, you're probably working for yourself. If you take a week's holiday, that's a week without pay. So you got to think about that way as well. So think of yourself, and someone is buying you something to help you with your job. What are they buying you? What do you say? I'd like this, please. This is my Santa list, and I would like X. What are you asking for?
Amazon voucher.
Fair. Then that way you can spend it on whatever it is you want to spend. That's a perfectly good question. My father would say money, because they're universal gift vouchers and you can spend it anywhere. So I get that. That's a good idea. But if it's a product, that's also the cheap and cheating way out of it. So I accept your answer, but I also disregard it from the point of we're trying to find actual products or things like that. What would you want that would make your life, your job, your daily breadwinner easier or better?
Tripod with lights, especially at the moment.
Yeah.
Today didn't get light, and you can't see what you're doing.
Yeah.
It looked almost like I'm working in the dark, especially for interiors. You try and do that as a professional detailer, charging a customer £120 upwards, and you can't see what you're doing.
So here's something. They made a clamp for a machine polisher which had an LED light on it, didn't it? Have you seen those?
I remember that. Yes.
Right. Okay. Why didn't they make a similar thing? Sorry, Paul?
Flex to them, don't they? You clamp the light onto the side of your polisher.
That's it. So you can see as you're correcting, you can see what you're doing. Why don't they make one for a vac, an LED?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I knew exactly where you were going with that. It's a great idea. You could do it yourself.
Let's roll the gaffer tape and a torch,
Yeah, I mean, I would grab one of these lights, a
come up on your
rechargeable video light. Yes. Oh no, because that's a good idea. All of Paul's inventions are crap.
Pretty much.
I don't know.
I got a message the other day from one of our listeners who's a former guest, and I could hear the podcast in the background, and the voice message started. In fact, I could probably even play it for you at some point if I find it. It started with him killing himself laughing, and he said, "What the hell am I listening to? Where does Paul get these ideas?" It was the house light condom thing that basically you shoot with a cannon.
I quite like the idea of that.
I like that. I really like that.
Well, I'm one of these people that decorate the outside of my house with lights everywhere, and I was sitting there thinking that could get my 12 to 13 hours off of putting lights up down to about an hour.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to tell us where to get them from. I was going to go and buy one.
They already said it was Aldi in the middle aisles. Because apparently we're the JML of podcasts.
I've got to mention whereabouts that Aldi's was. It was in Poland.
Of course it was.
I was going to say, in my local one, all I've got is Lebanese biscuits and a pair of flip flops.
Oh well, it's summer somewhere in the world, isn't it? No, I'd grab a little light like this and one of the GoPro kind of bike handle clamps, a handlebar clamp.
Yeah.
I would get that and put that on the end of your vac, and then you just switch on your light, and bosh, you've got a very bright light illuminating everywhere in the footwells of the car. I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm surprised no one has come up with that, because light on a machine polisher, although I do have my issues with that, because if you got a light on a machine polisher, it's only at one angle, and sometimes, as you know, you want a rounded spotlight. You want to be able to shine it down. You want to be able to see the spread of light coming out. You want to see where the angle of all the scratches are. So it's good up to a point, but eventually you're going to want to grab a swirl finder or something, a high powered light with a round light, and you're going to want to shine it down to see everything. It's all well and good doing it while you're doing it, but you need to do your post inspection as well.
So tripod with lights would still help.
Tripod with lights, 100%. I mean, God, yeah, 100%, yes. But I love the idea of a vacuum mounted light that goes on the end of a nozzle. Snap it on. Yes. So we need to get the guys that make Henry, where the pneumatic. I don't know what they're called.
Pneumatic.
Get them. Yeah. Pneumatic or Vax make wet vacs and things like that. They could come out with something. How about a light for when you're doing in your car? It could be just a little clip-on LED light that's rechargeable via USB. Well, I mean, I think that'd be fantastic. That would probably sell a bunch to the right kind of people. Market that to the professionals. I think they would sell a heap of them.
Yeah, because you're not going to set lights up in a car while you're doing the interior, are you? Because it's going to get in the way.
But then again, I mean, someone's going to say, the fairly obvious answer, and that is a head-mounted light.
Or just gaffer tape and a torch and just wrap it around it, job done. But you know what? I'm
Yeah,
Googling this as we talk, and I cannot find anybody that makes such a thing.
We're on this, boys. Come on. Let's make it. Let's do it. Let's be the first to market. The first, you're either first or you're last.
This could be the making of something. We could be this time next year.
This is it.
We could be millionaires.
I didn't want to say it, Paul. I didn't want to say it.
Look, I've always said it. I've said it to you, Specky. Nobody likes sucking in the dark, do they?
Depends on what you're sucking.
That's not the same conversation we were having. Okay, that was about a completely different topic.
I'm very, very sorry. I think it's old age. I'm awfully sorry.
You think?
Yeah. In other news, what was the standout product or brand of 2024? We'll open this up.
Yes.
Darren, I think you might be excluded for this because you might be down for a lawsuit if you say anything. Well, what I think. If you say anything,
you can't say any chemicals, can you? You can't say chemicals. You've got to say accessories.
I am. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Or even idea, or something that came out and thought, you know what? Or not necessarily this year, over the last couple of years, because I know the one I'm gonna choose, which I've found quite useful.
Ooh,
I know what you're going to choose.
Rim mats.
Okay, I would say rim mats are a cracking idea.
I still don't have
the Huygen sponge sticks.
Oh no! Do you know how I've shredded? I have shredded so many. Honestly, I don't know if it's me just being an absolute, I don't know, heavy-handed moron. But I use one, and by the time I pulled it out and finished with it, I'm like, this has got to go in the bin. It is shredded.
They're not good with sharp edges. I've got to give you that.
Yeah, and most of the time I'm using them on like Golf GTI grills. You got the honeycomb grill. They just shred in those grills so easy.
They've got sharp.
I don't know. I've used. I've used other ones, not the Huygen ones, and I've used the Huygens as well. I don't know what I would say is better. Some just have a tougher foam. I think the thing is the Huygen ones have got a specific softness of foam.
Yeah.
So there's only so much they're able to do. But then again, if you've done your pre-wash properly and you've got rid of most of your grime, you shouldn't have to be too heavy-handed. You should relatively easily.
I think it's just the sharp edges for me. I think that's what I'm having trouble with. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, is there a way we can avoid that? Is there something we could invent? So we've invented the vacuum light. What else can we invent while we're here?
Paul, what was it that stood out for you in 2024?
I don't know, to be honest. There's not really been a lot, like product-wise, there's not been anything. Is it not new, not anything like that? We've got this year, we've had last year. So
yeah, I think if we have to go 2024, I think it's got to be, and I know people are going, oh, this had issues. It's got to be that Batoka S4.
The 3-inch. Yeah.
Honestly, I know it's a little bit flimsy with the backing plates, but 18 quid solves that. And I have abused mine this year. And for 100, I think it's like they were on offer the other day, £98. I don't think you're going to find anything that's going to.
What have you been using it for? What have you been using it for? A back massager?
Well, mine. So I went to the NEC Classics, and I've got 4 batteries for mine. I've got 2 of the large ones and 2 of the smaller ones.
The big ones are brilliant.
Yeah, the big ones, and I've got 4 separate chargers as well. I've got some more chargers because obviously if something other things out.
But let's be honest. What is it that you're saying is specific about them? Because at the end of the day, rechargeable machine polishers are not new. It's just that this brand has come out and made them cheaper.
They've made them cheaper, but this machine, exactly, for me, it's a quality machine that can run all day long. I've had issues with machine polishers before that would not be able to put up the abuse this one has. It was running for 12 hours solid, back to back, at the NEC Classics, without a single murmur, without a single glitch. It's a lot of the smaller ones I find, that are not, £500-600. They stall out really easy. They're absolutely shocking. This thing, just for me, nails it every time I use it.
I kind of agree because me and Paul have used it a lot. I've got the bigger batteries on mine. I haven't got the backing plate that Paul's got. Paul's now switched his backing plate, which is, made it a lot better. The only thing I'll say about that company is they are very, very weird to deal with, especially as a
100%.
As a content creator, with the conversations I had with them. So I've kind of finished with them at the moment because I don't think they're going to send anything else out.
They talk to me through Amazon chat, like through Amazon Messenger. I don't even have an email address for them or anything like that. They talk to me through the Amazon Seller Center.
I've got an email address for them, and that's how I chatted to them. But I suppose that was probably one of the biggest surprises. But the surprise brand for me, which is probably Squid Ink. That's been the biggest surprise for me this year, which Paul introduced me to, because those products and the garage therapy products I still use all the time, and there hasn't been anything else that I've really thought, oh wow, that really stands out. I must mention this in the podcast. Or I know the car plan stuff, which me and Becky hold dear to our hearts, which is just for literally a chance walking into Tesco's one day and saw the super gloss and tried it, and it's like fantastic for the money.
I've got bottles of that super gloss stuff. That's all I'm going to say.
You see, this is the thing. People will talk about it and they'll say, "Oh, come on, it's car plan. I mean, how good is it really? Let's be honest." Yeah. And then the people who have turned around and said, "Okay, I did it." Paul mentioned it in his story. It's cheap. I went and bought some OMG. And it's really changed their minds. Well, that's the thing. When you've got a big established car brand, they can't make crap products. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're all perfect, but honestly, that was a big surprise when I first tried it. It was the first product I ever reviewed, and it was amazing.
Carplan don't really do like a horrible, awful product. All their products do an okay job, and they're at a reasonable price.
Yes.
Just people don't like it because they're not. Yeah.
That supergloss stuff is £7 for a litre in a B&M at the moment. Don't know if we're allowed to say that, but we are. But yeah,
really?
£7 for a litre. Yeah.
Go for it. I mean, honestly, it's one of those products that you just don't knock it till you've tried it, and then when you try it, come and thank us later on, because seriously, we don't say these things. None of us are sponsored. None of us, are here to say things that aren't true. We're here to support everyone else.
I work for a company, but I wouldn't say things that are untrue.
No, that's it. We've set a reputation based on the fact that we know people follow some of our advice. They go out, they try it, they come back, and they say, "You were absolutely right. You're bang on. I've fallen in love with this. It's fantastic." So we wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. This is Carplan don't even talk to me anymore.
People are coming to me.
I've actually thought of my product of the year. Sorry, Darren.
Are you all right? Yeah. I'm just saying, with what Specky was saying, I get people come to me saying, "Oh, you only like that Batoka because you got it sent free." Trust me, they've sent me about 8 machines now, and I've only raved about one of them. What does that say? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Well, I remember you handed the machine to me at Waxstock this year. You were you were very excited, and you're like, "Come on, try this." And I played with, honestly, just holding it in itself, and I was like, "This thing, it's punching above its weight for what it feels like, and then for the use and the balance and everything." I was impressed. I was very impressed.
I think I've got is it 7 or 8? I've got 7 or 8 of their machines here. Some corded, some cordless, and so far that is the only one that I've played with and been like, I'll happily tell people to go buy.
Yeah.
So
I've got the more expensive branded one in the different colours. And
yes, you have.
I have. And I'd still go to the S. Yeah. I'd still use the S4 over that.
I don't like the trigger on the Flex.
You've had troubles with that, haven't you? Paul had trouble with that when he used it.
I just can't get it to. It's really
but Paul doesn't do technology anyway.
No, I just find it really fiddly and awkward to push forward and then lock in. And
there's a reason for that. It's a safety mechanism. But once I got to use it, the thing is with that, it in real terms, using it you'd have to use it day in, day out, back to back, and then you'd work out which one was going to fail first. But the ergonomics of both the machines is literally like 90%. They're there. It's literally just a copy of a Flex. But the actual mechanics of the Flex, the fluidity of the machine is a lot better than the Batoka. But then you're paying an enormous amount more money more. you're getting all the really, really good attachments and everything else. So that's
you do get what you pay for. You do
you definitely get what you pay for. But as far as battery life is concerned, and me and Paul tried this as well. I took my Batoka to the last job we did. Didn't actually use it. I was still using the Flex, and I was using that for a very, very long time. And then there was no warning. The battery just went completely. It wouldn't even power up. Then switched batteries and carried on. So, yeah, that they are. I totally agree with Darren. They're really punching above their weight.
I think they've hit with one good machine, and the rest are just kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
But I mean, we've seen that with brands in many different respects, chemicals and accessories and so on, where, you know, out of all the things, we'll recommend the one out of these because the rest of them are passable, but there's this one that shines brighter than the rest. You know, that I think that's fairly standard in most of the industry. You know, like I say, Carplan, the number one super gloss, I 100%, you go and get it. But their number one, whatever the shampoo is called, yeah, no, there's better shampoos out there, you know. So, you know, that's always going to be the case. There are very few brands, I don't know how many you can think of off the top of your head, where it's like 99% successful.
Here's something I've seen less of in 2024 is that the flash sales and the heavily discounted items on social media. There seems to be less of that. I mean, if you take Black Friday, which is like Black Friday month, there wasn't an enormous amount as far as bargains to be had. I mean, I looked at some of the prices that people were charging, and to be honest, I mean, I'll pluck one out for you, like Detail Bug. Rachel's prices are absolutely incredible. They're brilliant prices. You go to another company, and even with that discount of a Black Friday, they're still not in line with Detail Bug. Shout out to Rachel, by the way. But that's just one company. So you have got the extremes, haven't you, where with a discount, you're still not as good as this other guy over here. And when we've got to the stage now, if you're running it as a business like Paul is, that can make all the difference. That £5-10 per product per 5 litres, £2, £3 on different kegs. If you're buying 5 different products, all in 5 litre form, it can make an enormous amount of difference to the end totals. And I think that's probably where people have moved away from a lot of other companies, and they've gone to cheaper companies. But that's not. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, as we've found out this year.
Yeah, I was going to say I can understand with some brands, but other brands, you know, you can buy cheap and you end up buying more
3 times
overall. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to dilution ratios, strength of
Valachem,
like
who is basically Carchem. It's their weaker brand, and we found this out ourselves. The first time we used it, it was so cheap. We're like, oh, we're blown away by this. It's doing the job, but it's really cheap. Me and Paul had many a chats in the van about it, saying, oh yeah, this could be, you know, a thing. And then we started using it on tougher jobs, and it was like, hang on, we're having to use like twice as much, 3 times as much. Oh, it's gone. And we like rinse through 5 litres of TFR, you know, in like a day and a half or whatever. It doesn't become cost effective. So you then go back to what you know. And
well, that shampoo I'd use 500ml a bucket.
Yeah, 500ml. That's like Turtle Wax Big Orange territory.
Wow.
That's 5 litres to a bucket.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Again, sometimes you do need to work out cost per wash and stuff like that to find out what value you're getting for product, but 500, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, you know, as like,
give it a go, have a look.
Yeah, I mean, think about other brands, and you think about the bottles that you buy. Shampoos often come in 500ml to get you started. If you use a whole bottle, what are they charging per bottle? That's ridiculous. And we know there are shampoos out there that you can use, you know, 25 to 50ml in a bucket, and that is going to do you, you know, heaps. It's a ton. It's going to give you plenty suds, plenty cleaning power. I don't understand the thoughts behind companies that want to do this, because are they doing it deliberately and saying, you know, I want to make sure that I'm making my products cheap, but because they're cheap, you're going to allow this, you're going to let this one fly. It would have to be ridiculously cheap for me to
There's
do
a
something like that.
there's a certain part of the market that are going to go, there's a 500ml bottle of shampoo there for £5. I'm having that over the £16 for it. There's a certain
Yeah.
market out there, and I think that's what they cater to. Like someone like my
Yeah.
dad, and I always refer to it when we talk about car cleaning. My dad will walk into somewhere or go online. There could be 2 bottles there. He won't look at the brand. He won't look at the dilution ratios. He doesn't give a monkey's. He will go, that one's £4. That one's £14. I'm having the £4 one. And he probably won't even read the instructions. He'll probably put a few capfuls in and think, yeah, that's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when
Yeah,
you're someone
that's
like
fair.
Paul who's out on the road every day, and I've seen the amount of chemicals that Paul uses,
Oh, yeah.
this is where it becomes really important, and it's the bottom line of how much you spend per month. And if you can find a brand that makes some really good products and they last a long time, i.e. the LSPs and the APCs, the citruses and things like that. I mean, fallout remover and tar and glue are probably the most expensive chemicals you can buy, excluding LSPs, of course, like ceramics and things like that. So they're the chemicals you're going to rip through as being a valeter or a detailer. And it does make a huge difference. I mean, what we found that even though Valetchem were offering huge discounts every time you placed an order, the discount increased. So on my 3rd order, it would have been 30% off, which is an enormous amount of money off a decent size order. But when you're getting those products and we're going to a job which is an absolute howler and we're having to rip through even more, it just becomes a false economy. So that's where we started going back to other brands and like, okay, we've tried that. It didn't actually work. It's not going to increase profit or anything because we're now having to reorder stuff. And another thing, the delivery schedules weren't that great, as Paul found out.
2
Yeah,
weeks.
I
2
think-
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 So
2 weeks.
getting it. 2
I had, to
weeks.
go out, I had to go out and buy other stuff. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy.
And you ordered something from me, Paul, once at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was there by 8 o'clock the next morning. See? That's
Oh, come
It
on.
was.
Come on now. Check him out. He's like ego everywhere. No, I mean, you look at professional products. Like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite examples was when I first used the Auto Glim Professional TFR. And the dilution ratio on that is 1:32. So, you buy a lot of retail products and they're 10-1. Just dilute it at 10-1, and 20-1 if it's not that dirty a car. And Auto Glim are just like 32-1. Go for it. It's still going to be really effective. And it is really effective. Professional products are there for the professionals. They're there to make sure that your cost per wash, your cost per use is as low as it can possibly be because they want you to be competitive. But again, that whole difference between that kind of thing and that £4 bottle on the shelf versus something else, it is because they're all catering to different markets. They're catering to the different types of customers.
So I've started using Rhino Shine and been using it with Paul as well. And even their wheel cleaner.
He hasn't been using my Rhino. He's just been using Rhino
No,
Shine.
not Paul's Rhino.
It's just clear.
You haven't been doing the doubles in the spokes again, no?
No, you can leave these alone.
I am now having to quickly Google those because I've never heard of these guys.
So they're not exactly on social media a lot, but we have been using them and they are blooming impressive to say the least.
So they started off just selling 5 litres. So because the idea was just to sell to trade. And then now they're selling 500 mils. So anyone can buy them. But
Okay.
I'm very impressed with
the
their
prices
product.
right now.
Jesus, their pricing's not bad.
It's even better when they've got a TikTok
Is it?
sale. Isn't it, Paul?
I'm sorry, who's that girl that just spoke?
Yeah.
You're right there, Darren.
Don't start.
You had an operation recently.
I go high pitch when I get excited, all right?
Laryngitis.
Yes,
Who's
they
who?
are. I think we've had so many conversations about this. We're always looking for a hidden gem in the detailing world, and I don't even know how Paul found these, but I've started using these, and they are really, really good. Obviously, as soon as you take a picture, you put it on Instagram, you get the haters. Oh, it's another brand, all that rubbish. normally from the same person. But yeah, very, very good. But they're not very common, should I say, on social media.
And that's a letdown, isn't it? Because social media is pretty much, as we've seen, one of the biggest ways to get your people to buy your products, because it is where the people go to find out just small comments on things, or it's the company showing off the product, or it's someone else saying, I just tried this. Wow. It's targeted advertising at the end of the day, and they should be on it. And it's surprising to see that they're not.
Yeah, well, I did get some products at a good price from them, which I got Paul some as well to try and help them along with some social media. I did pay for them. I didn't get them for free before everyone jumps on the, you got these for free.
Doesn't matter if
Did
you
pay
did or
for
not.
them. Well, no, but they were changing their branding. So with their old labels, were knocking like 50-60% off at the time. So I ordered myself some. I ordered Paul some.
It was on a TikTok sale, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they gave me a discount code as well if I want to get anything else.
Quite a substantial discount code as well.
Yeah, it's not a bad discount code. And then I've got a discount code if anyone else wants to use it as well. So yeah, I've got a few discount codes going around here.
Yeah, I'll take one, to be honest. If it's as good as you guys are making out to be, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We've said this on our podcast. We're always looking for the next big thing. We've seen kind of the industry plateauing as far as what's good, what's happening with the development or the lack thereof, and yes, okay, we had some people saying, well, you're being really down on the industry and you're making it sound like such a way. Yeah, but that's what everyone's thinking. We're saying what everyone's thinking at the end of the day. It's nothing new there. We're all looking for the next big thing. We're all waiting for the next development. As Paul was saying before, you haven't got clear coat in the back of your van. Well, why not? The next big thing I'd like to see is clear coat in the back of your van. Get yourself something that you can wipe on as self-leveling. In fact, I had a message from someone just recently telling me that there is in development right now with a brand a full self-leveling ceramic coating that you can put on, and you will not need to worry about anything. It is literally like clear coat in a bottle, but obviously it's a ceramic coating. We have seen some companies out there. I believe it was Optimum. They do their clear coat restorer, which is essentially clear coat in a bottle, but it's expensive. So like anything, ceramics were expensive when they first came out. Now ceramics are cheap. The more that's pushed about this, it's doing essentially at the end of the day what we want it to do. We are looking for something that helps us maintain the look of the car. And if we are out there with our machine polishers, we know we're going to be getting rid of paint. We don't want to get rid of paint. That's kind of a last ditch situation. What we'd rather do is safe wash the car, keep what's there, and anything that's looking a little bit thin, you get your gauge out and you check it. Grab a bottle of this stuff, wipe it on, self-leveling. I mean, done. And you could charge a good amount of money for that.
That's what you need. You need a ceramic coating that also acts like a filler. So it goes in, it fills those scratches and swirls, self-levels, protects, job done.
Well, Infinity Wax already make one, don't they?
But
As soon as you like.
Sure,
I just got a message from someone who shall not be named that there are multiples of these products in development.
I'm pretty sure when I did the podcast with Ivan, he's got a product coming out for DIY detail. Yeah. Or it might even be out by now, but it was only going to hit the US market at the time.
I think there's a bit of a race now, because I imagine that technology is available, and I feel like there's a few brands now racing to test it, get it developed, and get it perfected, and then out on the market. I think that's what's going to start happening.
That might be the next rush, because that was the older thing with ceramics back in the day, and then graphene came along, and it fell flat, unfortunately, but everyone was doing it at the time. So if that's the thing, then that we benefit from that situation. They see it as the next big thing. They're pushing for the development of it. They're pushing for the the manufacturer of it, which means others are going to do the same thing, which means that eventually with all that production happening, that they're going to improve on it. They're going to make it more economical to produce, which means it's going to be cheaper for us to buy. It's a win-win.
It is, but then is it a win-win for the companies themselves? Because imagine if you start using a product like that, self-levels, fills and dulls that malarkey. What's going to be the need for the polishes, the compounds?
I was going to say that, Darren. I was going to say that.
Yeah,
Polishes become redundant.
yeah.
They're going to take their self out of work. It's a bit like, you know, them developing a car that runs on water. People are not going to do it because they make money from, you know, diesel, petrol, electric, LPG, all that. It's never going to happen. I think they will get
totally
to the point where
Yeah.
they will design it, realize how dangerous it is, and it will never come to market.
I think there's going to be there will be a push for a balance. Like anything, if you look at an alternative industry for a moment, you look at big pharma, right? Pharmaceutical companies. They don't want to sell you a cure because they'll make no money. You know, whatever it is you are suffering from, if they cure you, you don't come back to them for more product. You go to them for treatments, which make the thing easier to live with and a bit less painful and a bit whatever it is. If they were to produce, and I'm almost positive there are companies out there that have already got formulations for cures for this, that, and the next thing, but they know full well that it would kill their business if they sold you a cure. So by the same token, yes, I get where you're coming from in the detailing world. So again, we'll probably start to see it gently introduced in a weaker form where, you know, ceramic coatings now are telling us, there's companies out there that tell us that we can get 10 years out of a ceramic coating. Whereas, you know, when they first came out, it wasn't like that at all. It was 6 months to a year. So it's generally improved as time has gone on. So I think we will see a light version of these clear coat restorers, that kind of thing, to a point. But what they'll probably say is you can't just put this on the paint as is because you know what it's like. There's going to be contaminants on the paint. You're going to be sealing them in. That's not a good idea. You're going to end up with fisheye and all that stuff on your paint. That's not good. So they'll tell you it's a system. You look at all the companies. They all try and do a sort of system. We've got the different compounds for you. We've got the light cut, the medium cut, the heavy cut. Get the paint to where you need it to be, and then add this on top of it. Your paint will be perfect. This will adhere to that much better. La la la. And again, it won't be a permanent thing. It'll be what they like to call semi-permanent, which in itself is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as semi-permanent. It's either semi or it's permanent. You can't have both. So it'll be a semi-permanent situation, and they'll say this, just like a ceramic coating, will last on your paint for maybe 2 years if you're lucky. But you know, eventually through washing and things like that, it will degrade down. It's an easier product to use than a ceramic coating, for example. It won't give you the properties of a ceramic coating. It will just build your paint up. So in order to keep that going, you'll need to buy our ceramic range. And you use that on top to make the water come off easily and to stop the dirt from sticking and blah, blah, blah. They'll build it into a system. I'm fairly sure of it.
But then who's it going to be aimed at? Because it's not going to be aimed at the weekend warrior. I wouldn't say.
It's not going to be. No, it's not. But just like what we've got right now with so many, we've got boutique brands for the enthusiasts. And then we've got professional brands for the professionals, or we'll have companies that have different lines, different ranges for different customers. So you will have Autoglim make the retail range for the average Joe who walks into Halfords and sees all the white bottles and goes, that's exactly what I need. But Halfords won't have the professional range, which the professionals will go looking at the different car motor factors and things like that, or go online and say, I'm going to buy the professional TFR and things. That's not marketed to them. So they still have separation within the industry.
If you say you were given £100,000 car, what would you protect your car with right now? What on the market would you go and protect your car with?
A PPF.
PPF. So,
PPF?
Do you feel like PPF may be the peak?
No, it's
self-healing PPF.
PPF again is not for everyone.
It's a gap filler.
You know,
there's always going to be progress. There's got to be progress, and I think if they do develop a sprayable clear coat, I mean, if you think about a ceramic, it is kind of like a sacrificial layer. Anyway, it's like all we're trying to do is build up layers on a car. If you think about waxes, every time you build up wax, you're just building up layers of protection, more and more layers of protection. You go over with something else and something else. So I think it will come to market. It's just when, and I don't think it's going to do everybody out of machine polishers or pads or compounds, because like Specky says, you're going to have to do the groundwork before that anyway. So there's going to be all that work involved, there will always be machine polishers. There has to be. It's not going to be. I can never see it ever going away, to be honest with you, because people have accidents, people knock cars, they have bumps and scrapes, and yes, they don't get machine polished to the degree that a detailer does, but body shops always have machine polishers. There's always going to be, reasons to own a machine polisher. It's going to be, I think we're a long way off of that, but I think it's got to get to a point where evolution, it's got to change. I mean, I know we do see waxes. Waxes are on the nostalgic guys out there who still like to wax cars. The classic car market will always have car waxes, carnauba waxes, natural waxes, homebrew waxes. They're lovely things to have. It's a bit like me with hi-fi having vinyl. It's like a nostalgic thing. I can't remember, and I know Specky probably can't remember either, and the last time I hand waxed a car, yes, by machine with Paul, and it probably actually the last time I did wax a car was with Paul, and I hadn't done it for a very, very long time.
I was going to say, the last time I remember you doing it was your dad's car.
Yeah,
we have
on a video. Remember the red sea?
Yeah, we have, and that's the epoxy wax, which is up to a year, which is not like a natural showy wax,
like a proper wax.
Yeah, and I think we are moving away from that, because although they are nice to have in your collection, I've got probably far too many of them. It's too easy for me to go and grab Sigma V3, V2, or beads, 3D car care, or G3 surface sealant, to name but a few. There's loads out there you can use instead of using a pot of wax. So we are moving away from things, and it just takes a very, very long time.
But if you had the time to do your own car, you would probably use a wax, like Darren would, like we all would. We'd all stand there.
Yeah, I think
putting the wax on.
I've probably done in the last 3 months. I've probably done about 30 cars, and out of that 30, I would say at least 18, 19 were probably waxed by hand.
See, I think, again, it's this whole argument of wax. I made a video about this a very long time ago. Is wax dead? And it's not, but it's more for, again, it's very specific situations nowadays, whereas back in the day it was default. It's now, it's been killed off by the spray sealant and so on, and the ceramic sealant and things like that.
Hybrid detailers.
All these kind of things, because we can get protection from shampoos. There are shampoos out there that have incredible protection within them.
Oh yes.
So
ceramic
again,
shampoo.
why do you need one? But you look at a company, just for a pure example situation, Garage Therapy, were all about sealants to start with, and then they produced Alpha Wax, and the Alpha Wax was there for people who still had classic cars which have single stage paint, because they realized ceramics are just not quite suited for a single stage paint. The pores are very big and it's a very basic paint, and wax was the better option. So Alpha Wax came out to fill that gap. So there are still going to be situations where if you've got a classic car, we would recommend a wax. You got a classic Jag, you got a classic Beamer, whatever it is, we'll pick out a good wax for you. It's going to work great. It's going to soak into the paint lovely, all that kind of stuff. But then modern cars, we've got this 2-pack paint situation where we've got a clear coat on it. We can smooth it out beautifully. We can get a great protection on there, some sort of sealant that cross links with your paint, like a ceramic based product, things like that. We're not interested in waxes, because the world has changed for convenience. We don't go shopping anymore. We buy online on Amazon. We don't want to go out and do things. We want to buy our shopping online and get Asda to deliver it to us. We're looking for convenience, and the industry has taken that on board to a certain extent by making products which are quicker and easier to use, less fuss, less muss, less everything, because we seem to be, as a society, much shorter on the spare time that we used to have. We've got so much more going on in our lives. We're much busier in our lives with our families and so on. So unless you're like a single guy with very little going on, but you've just got a nice car, okay, fine, you've got the time to do it. For the rest of us, it's a struggle. So I want a product which is going to be quick and easy to use. So even when I choose a wax, I'm not going to choose a paste wax, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to use a liquid wax because it's just going to be a quicker and easier product to use. One of my favorites for a long time has been the Monster Shine Dominator wax. Brilliant liquid wax. Absolutely fantastic. Goes on, comes off, absolute breeze, great protection. So things like that. There are going to be situations that I'll use a wax for, but I'm not always going to reach for that pot of wax. You know, again, sometimes, yes, okay, I'm going to say, I've got the whole day. I've got nothing to do. It's a lovely day out there. I'm going to take my time and enjoy this. And I'll go and grab a wax that gives me an enjoyable situation, you know, where it's for me, it's therapeutic to me, rather than thinking about the car as a whole.
All right.
What
I've
I
got a
will say
question.
is, anybody listening, do not go onto Google and type in Monster Dominator. That is not what I wanted to be seeing this summer night.
No. You need to delete the history there, Darren.
No, what's funny is it was already in his history. It's a purple link on Google.
Darren, get rid of that
Saves
bookmark.
page.
I mean, it is the wife.
Get rid of the bookmark.
I am using the wife's laptop, so
I have a question for us and the audience, and they can comment on this. Has social media done detailing more damage in the last year, or has it helped it?
Can I just
Everyone,
say
yeah.
something here? Do you actually think people are going to view this? I mean, my last video got 26 views.
You'll
Doesn't
get at
matter.
least 28. I'm telling you now.
There you go. Yeah.
Well,
Because we've got all the
got three
hard-hitting
here.
comments and questions here, so don't worry. Yeah, people. No, I think it's a balance. Honestly, I think it's a balance. Some of it is negative. Yeah, I do think so, because there are the fanboys out there who have not helped a lot of situations. You know, they've just, all they've done is spread hate, you know, and they're just there as keyboard warriors, just saying, "Oh, why would you use that?" It's not, that's not healthy. It's not helpful to the industry. It's helped. I think it's helped more than it's hindered, because it's helped to spread information.
Yeah, but I think it has damaged it for some brands. I do feel like there's people out there with a big following that can say they could make or break a brand just by saying a few words. And I feel like there are people out there that have maybe not been given something they expected, not been given stuff for free, and they'll openly say something about their brand, and it can break a brand for just one person saying something like that. Social media has had such a negative impact on some brands, but it's also done fantastic for the smaller brands, like you're mentioning Rhino Shine. You know, I would have never heard of them if they'd have never been talked about by you guys. So I think, again, like Specky saying, it's a balance. It's doing good, but it's also doing bad.
But again, it's like that in reviews.
Oh God, yeah.
A company sends you a product and says, "Can you review this?" And you say to them, "I'll be perfectly honest about this product if I like it and if I don't like it." And it always happens. It's happened to pretty much all of us. You put a review out and you say, "I got this for free. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give you my honest opinion." Your honest opinion at the end of it is, "I don't like it." You could kill that brand from that, but you'll also find that brand will be really angry with you and probably not talk to you anymore. I think we've probably all been there.
I mean, I did have one brand threaten me quite nastily after one of the reviews of their products.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say the brand that I tried, but I tried something and I said, "No, it was rubbish."
Yeah,
I had that brand on blocked me from all social media because he didn't like my review. I even spoke to Specky and Steve, because I couldn't get the product to work as what it said on the bottle. So I put my review out anyway, and they blocked me and reported my video. So yeah, that was great.
Which,
fun.
by the way, if you do that, it does nothing.
No, it didn't do anything.
YouTube comes up and says, you've had a complaint, and we'll just let it sit there for a while. And if they do something about it, fine. But if not, it'll just be reinstated. And they just walk away. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, they blocked me.
I think it's hilarious. I think that's hilarious. But again, I wasn't blocked by this company, but they just didn't talk to me. When I put the review out and I sent them the link, I said, "Here you go. It's my honest opinion." They didn't respond to me. They just blanked me. Didn't block me, just blanked me and did not want to speak to me again.
Well, the company
All right,
I
fair
did, they threatened me and told me I was wrong. So I bought a couple more bottles from elsewhere, tested them again. They threatened me quite nastily. Then about a week later,
I remember this. I remember this brand.
Yeah, they took that product off sale and it hasn't come back on since. So
is that the brand that began with an I?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did the snow foam because that was a coloured snow foam, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
Was that a coloured snow foam you did? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did the other colour. I brought the other colour, done a review, stuck it up, and they sent me a letter. If I don't take it down, I'm going to take me to court.
Yeah, they were.
I took it down just because I did take it down just because I didn't want the aggro. But yeah, I do get it a lot. To be fair,
I'm sorry if you're watching this podcast, don't bother with coloured snow foams. It's a gimmick. It's a bit of fun, but that's all it is. Don't expect it to do anything else. It's just a bit of fun.
It's useless. It's just annoying.
So it's just there for the curtain twitchers. If you want to wind up your elderly neighbours, that's what to do.
I do use coloured snow foams, and there's a reason why I use coloured snow foams, and it's going to sound really bad at this point, or really good. It's going to sound really intelligent or really bad. So I live in a village, and we've got a massive high street all the way through, and it's really busy. So I will use a coloured snow foam if I'm working along that high street.
Yes.
Because it will draw people over to me for a conversation.
Yep, it does.
100%. That's about the only reason you use it is for promotional situations. Because think about it. How many times have we scrolled through Instagram and we stop when we see a coloured snow foam going on a car? I'm sorry. We all do it.
Every time.
We all do it, right? You know, the most famous ones I can think of is basically, what is the name of the brand? We've had products from them before, Paul. Where are they
Alien
called?
Magic.
Alien Magic. Well done. Yes, Alien Magic. Alien Magic snow foams, they are colourful. They're great. And, you know, actually, they worked pretty well, to be perfectly honest. It's about the only coloured snow foam I've used that worked well enough, you know, to have some cleaning ability in it. But using that, it definitely got people stopping and looking. I remember a few years back at the old house, and I was using a different snow foam. I think it might have been Waxing Away, and they had their really bright pink snow foam. And I was using that just to see what it was like. And my elderly neighbor next door was out washing his car with his bucket and mop. And seriously, no joking. It was a mop. It was one of those noodle mops. And just a bucket of water. And he was just wiping it over. And this other elderly couple that he knew had walked across and stopped to talk to him, as they do. And I was kind of subtly trying to listen to what they were saying whilst also pretending to ignore them. And all I could hear them was saying, "What's that pink stuff he's putting all over the car?" That's it. That's enough. If you do that on a high street, people are going to go, "What's that? I need to go check that out. What is it? What do you do this professionally?" There you go.
There's the hook.
Exactly.
Yeah, so through that high street, you get another 4 or 5 villages too. So that is the main road to go through. So using the coloured snow foam in the middle of it turns all the pubs and flowers and everything funny colour, but it draws people in for attention. So it does what it wanted to do.
Yeah, so, I just like using them for a bit of fun.
The dual one's pretty good.
Sometimes it is just fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. The dual okay is it does clean. It's not as bright as what it shows on their videos, I find. But it does clean. So I do have to give them credit to that. Other ones I've used don't clean at all.
I've got a controversial question. You've all got to be really honest here. Like seriously honest. When's the last time you took your car to get washed by somebody other than you? Whether that's a drive-through automated car wash or a scratch and shine. When's the last time you did that?
Last week. So Liz, hear me out, right? Our Fiat is on its last legs, right? I have to start the Fiat every morning for my wife with easy start. We have a wing mirror that's been knocked off. We're having to put 1.5 liters of oil in. Its MOT's coming up in a month's time, and it's not making it. It's literally that's it. That's it. We're buying a new car before the MOT runs out. It is fucked. And we had to go somewhere the other day, and I had to wash it. And I was just like, you know what? I am not spending my time on this. Straight for the automatic car wash. Come out the other side. Got home. Sprayed it over with a bit of Dolo Juice's Future Armor. Wiped it down. Job done.
I haven't got anyone to do my car, but I have used a coin-operated, Lance jobby, and that was back in, I want to say about 1992, 91. So, yeah.
I was like 10, 11 years old at that point,
Yeah, it was a long, long time ago. Yeah. In detail.
Were you watching Windy Miller in the morning?
No, I wasn't on that morning. It was backwards.
I mean, I don't know about Paul. Paul's washing cars all day long, every day. The last thing he wants to do is get home and wash his own vehicle, surely. Like me, I've been so busy. I'm just like, I haven't got time to do my own car. And
have you seen the state of my white van?
So the thing
honestly,
is,
it's not white.
I sent Paul a photo the other day of the inside of my wife's car. That is the reason why I don't mind sticking it for an automatic car wash, because it's not looked after.
Yeah. I put my Mazda through an automatic car wash about 3 weeks ago. And it was, I just don't have the time. I don't have a garage. Here's my defense. I don't have a garage here at the house, right? I've got a small shed. I only have a couple of products in it. I wouldn't have been able to wash the car properly here. I didn't have time to go and take it down to my dad's place where I use his garage for all my overflow of products. I didn't have the time. We have grit, salt, all sorts of stuff. We had horrible weather. We had snow and ice and everything, slush, you name it. The car looked a complete state. And so I just decided one day after work, while I was getting some petrol, I thought, you know what? There's a car wash there. I'll use it. When it came out and I drove the car home and I parked it in the driveway, I looked at the car and I was like, wow, that did a decent enough job. The car is clean. I'll deal with the issues later. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. But it got me thinking that all these automated car washes and things like that, we know they're not good for your paint. But we are starting to see in some places, because I was Googling this, touchless car washes.
Yeah, I've seen
I would really like to see more of these available, because as far as I can tell, they're only in England at the minute. I don't think there's any up in Scotland at all. But if there was a touchless car wash available near me, I would 100% use it. And I'd probably use it quite a lot, because again, I'm short on time. So if I've got 5 minutes to spare and I could pull into one of these bays, let the machine do its thing while it whizzes all its arms around and does everything and covers me in snow foam and then blasts it all off, that's going to be enough to keep me going for a while before eventually I then go to it and give it a proper contact wash. I'd like to see that, though. Much more of these things.
I've got a really good excuse why my van looks like how it is. Paul,
no, you don't. You're a professional.
Yeah, no, I do. It's a work in progress. Paul messaged me saying he needs a dirty van. So I'm thinking, don't clean my van, because I've been on farms and all sorts of things. Makes a really good video.
Hang on. So you're saying it's all Paul's fault?
It's just an excuse to get me to wash his van.
Yes, he wants a van to do for a video. So I don't know any vans coming up. So as I've been working on farms and all sorts of things, and there's mud everywhere, I thought, well, this would be a good video, isn't it?
You don't need a rundown, battered up Skoda, do you, Paul, to wash? A couple of video.
He wants it to.
You can't wash off all those dents and scratches.
No.
I've seen that car.
And my car's in the garage. So.
Too many excuses. No, I'd like to see more of that. I think that's.
Yeah, but can you really have a touchless car wash?
There's not 100%. Not to get it 100% clean. Yes, you can. You can have a touchless car wash, but it will not clean it to 100% standard. But it'll be close enough for most people. For people like us who want to just get most of the grime off there, that haven't got a lot of time, I'm totally okay with it. I think it's a perfectly
Well,
acceptable idea.
I haven't seen one. I know there's one near Shrewsbury, but I've not actually seen one near me.
I'm actually going to go and Google it right now.
But you're going to have less damage to your vehicle as well, though, aren't it?
Exactly.
So you're better off going to that for the less damage.
That's the whole idea. I would definitely do it. Looking here, yeah, the first one that comes up is Shrewsbury. To be
I was
honest,
going to say it's the only one that I know of.
I'm not going to go there to get my van cleaned because it'll be dirty. So you know, it's not like you can pop round the corner, is it?
Not really.
Looking to see if there's any others. To be honest, if they are here, I'm looking in.
Any on the island, Paul?
There's one
No,
here
no,
in
there isn't.
Carlisle. If you're in Carlisle, there's one there. I think that actually looking at this, I can't see many other options here. I think it literally is Shrewsbury and Carlisle, where are completely touchless. The rest of them are companies that either sell them or lease them. So I think we need to do this. We need to pool our money together, and then we'll set up a chain of these things, and then market them to all the people who like to keep a clean car but don't have the time for it.
Oh, I don't like that. I'm still in for this Hoover light.
Who says it has to be one thing? We could do multiple. Let's broaden our horizons here a little bit. We could do this.
Vacuum attachments and contactless car washes. Sounds good.
It's a start. I mean, the world is your oyster after that.
So back to the conversation of Christmas. Yeah. What would you buy the Weekend Warrior?
That was an hour ago.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half ago we started this.
Buckle in, we've still got 4 hours of this, guys.
So it's only an hour and a half each question. Cool.
I've only got 4 questions. We're on question 2. So no,
the enthusiast.
Yeah, the enthusiast, the Weekend Warrior, the dad, the wife, the children to pay them pocket money.
If they haven't got a big bucket, get them a big bucket. If they haven't got a decent wash mitt, get them a good wash mitt. Very, very simple, straightforward. Maybe a snow foam lance if they haven't got a snow foam lance.
Detailing bag.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
Or some sort of starter kit, is a good idea. There are companies, I mean, look at, we were talking about Detail Bug before, how you can buy a starter pack. You can even customize your pack if you want to, get a selection of products. If you know about it, buy it for someone else and go, hey, look, I picked out a few products for you. Here's 6 bottles of this for whatever. And, there's a shampoo, quick detailer, all these kind of things. It gets them into it, gets them thinking about it.
100%. Or I know that there's a certain brand out there that has this little thing. If you go on their website, they've got a homebrew wax kit where it all comes in a nice little kit. And you can knock up your own little wax at home in your kitchen. It's a really fun little thing.
Oh, that's like Dolden's Car Care, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a really fantastic little idea.
Isn't it an Aldi in the middle aisle?
No. That's not yet.
Do you want to tell us where you can get it from then, Darren?
Yeah, if you head over to the WW's website.
I actually want to do that. If someone sent me that, I'd be really happy. If someone sent me that, because I actually find that to be a really fun idea.
It is a really fun thing to do. Just make sure if you're in the kitchen, have a window open or like an extractor on, because the solvents do smell. It's actually a really good wax as well. But yeah,
if you like waxes,
that's what I'd buy. That's what I'd buy the Weekend Warrior.
Yeah. If you don't like waxes, don't have it.
Well, if you don't like waxes, what's wrong with you?
Yes, different planet, aren't you?
I would buy them 5 litres of big orange shampoo to put them off detailing, for life and save them a fortune.
Yeah.
Use it and go.
It would.
That's rubbish. That's rubbish. I'm just going to go back to this fairy liquid if it's all right with you. I think a detailing kit, definitely a kit. 2 buckets, grit guards, the basic kit with some at least 4 or 5 different 500ml bottles to get them off and running, and a wash mitt and a drying towel. You can't exactly start with pressure washers and things like that because it just runs away with you. But if they have got the basic kit, they can then at least make an effort and start getting into it. There you go.
Next question.
Do any of you think that if you took up smoking or alcohol as a daily thing, it'd be a lot cheaper than detailing? Because the amount of money I've
No.
spent on my detailing stuff.
No.
Yes.
Well,
It's different for me because mine's a business rather than
that's the thing. Like,
the
how, if
driveway.
I think about it, I've got in my garage probably thousands and thousands of pounds worth of products in there that I didn't thankfully pay for. Not to say that I stole them. I didn't steal them. They were just sent to me. But I think, when you add up how much you use, you got to break it down to how many times you've washed your car. And out of the number of times you've washed your car, did you actually, towards the end of your year, did you use a whole bottle of snow foam? Did you use it all up? Did you use a whole bottle of shampoo?
Yes.
You know, I mean, you go and buy I'm thinking like Auto Glim shampoo, right? And it says on the bottle, it'll do 25 washes. 25 washes is like, that's washing it every other weekend.
Yeah.
So that's a year's worth of shampoo. So, and that costs you what?
Ah,
a tenner?
Lasts me 2 weeks. If
Depends how
I'm
many
lucky.
cars you've
Yeah, as you say, you're in a different situation.
And also depends how many cars you've got on your drive.
All right, Mister. I live in Essex with a pool in my back garden and 3 cars. All right, that's a different situation for you. I've got an old Mazda and a horse-drawn cart. I mean, what do you expect me to do?
We roughly worked out my chemical cost is £500 a month, roughly. So
I think that's all right. To be fair,
As a business, that's not bad.
it's actually all right. I would,
I do go to
that's
Pratt
actually
Cave
okay.
quite a bit in Mersey to see what he's got to help me out a bit.
Oh, what's that over there?
I mean, I would say.
Paul,
up
I mean,
until-
he's down to 1 pressure washer. I've got 5. Sorry, Darren.
No lie.
I'd say up until January, the start of January this year, or whatever, 2024, I was probably spending £200 to £300 a month on just detailing bits. I would be constantly looking at what to buy, and that's alongside the stuff that's been sent to me as well. So,
Wow.
I mean,
That's a bit obsessive, to be honest.
I have a spare bedroom. Literally, the other week I went to a like a little market thing with 5 or 6 massive boxes of stuff and sold it off at 50p a bottle just to get rid of it and give the money to charity. Right? I still can't get in the fucking door of that spare bedroom. Literally cannot get in there. It needs to be emptied, and I cannot get in there. There is so much stuff in there.
Why did they bring it all back?
yeah, refund.
I honestly, I filled up the boot of 2 cars and got rid of pretty much 90% of it, and I still can't get in that room. That's how much stuff I've got.
I know somebody who went.
Darren.
It's not good.
I know somebody who went to that thing you did, and they brought
Yeah.
some stuff from you, and they said, "How do I take it back?" So I gave them your phone number,
To be fair, the
your
stuff
email address, and your address.
it was good stuff I took there. That's the really sad thing. It's just I'm never going to use it, or I've already
So
used it and I'm
that's
never going
the
to use
thing.
it again.
Yeah, I had a whole. I kept. I mean, for a while, I was doing the mystery box thing just to try and get rid of some of my stuff. And then eventually, I was just putting stuff in boxes and asking everyone that I knew.
Yeah.
Friends, family, friends of friends, people's dogs and everything. Do you use any of this stuff? Could you use it? And here, give me a $5 and you can have all that.
I do it
Can't use it.
every time there's a raffle at my son's school, and they were like, "Do you want to donate anything for the raffle?" I'm like, here's a bucket of products. So, yeah.
And they're like, what is this?
That bill, like £500, is just chemicals. That's no towels. That's no pads. That's nothing like
No
that.
energy drinks.
So, no, hang on. I've not had an energy drink since July.
August,
You
September.
must be first. You must be first as well.
July the 12th was the last time I had an energy drink.
That's because I told him off.
Oh, I've been telling off for years.
It's because the doctor told me off.
I had one
and
tonight.
The hospital told me off. So I'm not allowed to have them anymore, unfortunately. Not allowed anything with sweet in it. Sweets, energy drinks, full fat, sugar. Yeah, I can have diet or sugar free. Can't have sugar in my tea or coffee. Can't have anything like that.
I'd miss my 3 sugars.
I can have sugar as long as it's fermented.
Of course, there's always a loophole for you, isn't there, Paul?
Turned into red wine.
All right, next question. Let's get this through. Come on. We don't want to spend
Right,
4 hours on this.
Last question. If you could have anything for Christmas, which would be on your wish list, what would it be?
Anything.
Anything
Is this
in the detailing world.
Okay. Right.
Not anything. It's
What, you gonna buy
detailing.
me something,
Well, you
Paul?
got to be specific about this. Come on. What kind of a host are you? Anything. Well, anything with this. From this one
It's a
brand.
detailing podcast.
Pad washer.
Mhm.
Oh, no, not because I want one. Not because I need one. Just because I want one. Just because
Okay.
I've pretty
I
much
was gonna
got everything
say
else.
that.
I'm lucky enough in my situation to not really want for anything. So everything else is something that I don't ever feel like I'm going to have it or need it, but it would be nice. You know, there's nothing that I want out there. And now it's just wouldn't that be nice if I had a pad washer just to give it a try? Wouldn't it be nice if I had a Rupes or a Flex machine polisher or something like that? I'm not going to use it all that much, but wouldn't it be nice to say I had one and, you know, crack it out every now and then, make a video? Beyond that, I am not in a situation where I need any damn thing, so it makes it really hard. So yeah, pad washer, easy one.
Darren?
See, I've got pad washers. I've got all sorts of stuff like that. I think the only thing that I keep looking at thinking, I want one of those, is a forced rotation.
Got one. They're good.
Yeah, see, I haven't got a forced rotation. I really want a cordless forced rotation. That's the only thing, but at the same time, I don't need it. I've been playing with one for the last few weeks, and I'm like, do you know what? I could do with this. But there's nothing like that. There is literally nothing I want because I've got it all. It's either been sent to me or I've bought it over the last few years, or I've got it at work and I can use it on a daily basis. And it's like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's other than force rotation, that's it.
I tell you what, when I started using my forced rotation, I honestly thought to myself, why would I ever bother with a normal DA
Yeah,
or a rotary? Because
Yeah.
it just nails everything.
100%.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. But they're generally more expensive than your standard rotaries or your DAs. So that's the only thing. But there are companies just like the Batokas and so on that make cheaper products. There are companies that make cheaper machine polishers out there that are you know, forced rotation. And I got sent one from my sugar daddy, and I'm just over the moon with it. I absolutely love it. Any chance I get a chance to use it, I do it because
Mhm.
it's just, there's just so much flexibility to be had there. I love it.
What about you, Paul?
Exactly the
Which Paul?
same. Which Paul?
The Mr.
Yeah,
Dolden,
which Paul?
Paul
Yeah.
D, the big dog.
I've actually got one coming. VRG. Yeah. I've actually got one coming. But I can't say, well, you probably guess who it's coming from, but it won't be till
Tucker.
next year. No. Definitely not coming from those guys. No. But I've got one coming next year.
Yeah,
So that's what I think it fills the gap between when me and Paul do cars, I will cut with the rotary or refine if necessary, and then Paul will follow up with the Roops.
yeah, it will fill that kind of void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've both got mini polishers, and you know, the attachments do behind door handles and A pillars and B pillars, so it does really just it fills the gap. We've got big, 6-inch backing plates, 5-inch backing plates. So yeah, it would fill the gap, but also I've never used one, so that's why I really want one.
Ooh.
And if
Yeah,
it-
see, I'd
What
never-
about that? What about the machine from Lake Country? The convertible. It can be a short throw, long throw, rotary, all that kind of stuff.
I haven't got one.
I know you haven't got one. I was asking, well, there's an option for a thing to ask for.
Mm, yeah,
Mm,
could do.
Because they're like 700 quid.
yeah, but with those convertible machines, there's more to go wrong.
Well, they said, oh God, don't get me started on that. They said that about mobile phones. I used to work in Carphone Warehouse back in the day. 2004 I started there, right? Before we had smartphones. And then phones started being introduced that could do more things. Cameras were appearing on phones. Ooh, isn't that nice? Hey, not only that, this thing could be your MP3 player because it stores MP3 files. Ooh, wouldn't that be nice? And now this one can surf the web a little bit. And then, honestly, the biggest argument that came from people was, "Oh, that's just more things to go wrong."
But it is though. Answer this, right? So now, if you lose your phone or you smash your phone, or your phone's dead, you are knackered. You've got no MP3 player. You've got no camera. You've got no internet surfing. You lost it all. Whereas back in the day, if you lost your phone, you still had your MP3 player, you still had your laptop, you still had a camera. So
I have a spare phone.
If you've got one of the machines and that's what you're taking out for the day with you, and that goes kaput, you are knackered.
Yeah, but come on, a proper professional would make sure that they carry spares, they carry backup.
You just have one of each.
Surely you don't just turn up to a job with one machine polisher, because that one job could be the job that kills that machine polisher.
Exactly.
You got to have a spare.
Yes.
Just have one of each. It makes it easier.
Well, that's what I mean. That is one of each.
Yes,
But you bring along your
fancy.
fancy multi-use thing, and then you also have one that doesn't do any of that stuff, but that backs you up and stops you from being stuck in a hole.
I haven't even seen these things. I'm now looking at them. I can't find it.
I don't know if they still make them anywhere, but I remember they were bloody expensive. They were like 700 quid.
Yeah,
Last
I can't
question.
find it.
This is the last question. Honestly, it is. It is.
He just added it because I saw him writing it on his notes.
He did, because I thought of it. I thought I've got to ask it because we have to ask it.
Oh no, no, don't ask that one.
You got to ask this one. So what are you all looking forward to in 2025 in the detailing world? Come
on.
It's got to be something you're looking forward to.
Waxstock.
I'm
I
just
love going to the show. Yeah.
I'm just going to say the more opportunities that's being brought to me.
I'm going to say the same. There you go.
You're not going to have an original answer this episode, Paul.
No, because there's all sorts of things happening next year that I don't want to talk about. I'm going to play my cards close to my chest.
But if you want to know what it's about, just send me a message. I'll send you all the screenshots.
I am just going to say that in the last year, it's been an absolute whirlwind of stuff that's happening, and it's just ramping up more and more and more, and I cannot wait till 2025 because there's so much going on.
I'm the same. We've got some interesting things coming up, and unfortunately, I can't tell any of you about it apart from Paul because he knows about it.
Yeah.
I would say, apart from something for me, I would say more interesting new guests on the podcast. Because
thank you very much.
if I now
I said interesting.
Oh,
Paul.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that bit. Sorry.
If I now see in 2025 Paul and Paul's Hoover attachments, lights and stuff like that, I'm coming for you.
What, the light?
Yeah,
the light Hoover attachment. We'll go out on this.
Paul and Paul, we could turn that into a brand like P&P. Just PP. Have you got your PP? Stick it on the thing. Yeah, I'm doing that.
Oh dear. On that bombshell.
It's been a long day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
I'd like to wish everyone a happy Christmas. Happy Christmas, guys.
Yeah,
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to our audience. If there's anyone
you don't
out
say
there.
happy, you say Merry Christmas. What is
Merry
English
Christmas?
people say Happy Christmas?
Right.
Well,
Merry
we want everyone to be happy.
Happy festivities.
And
a happy new year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thanks, Tiny Tim.
A Merry New Year.
Yeah.
I hope Santa brings everything you want.
Yeah, and make sure you tune into the Specky and Paul Talk Detailing Podcast, the best detailing podcast on the internet.
Yes.
What he said.
I think I've actually listened to all of them a lot of times. And I was going to say this earlier, but I think I actually went insane earlier on my way home from work because I listened to your podcast so much I couldn't listen to it anymore. So I started having a conversation with Google.
Well, there's a review for you. I liked it so much.
Yeah. If you could just, type that out somewhere.
I found it so interesting. I started listening to Google.
Today I started talking to Google and it just drove me in because I was just going mad today. It's Friday. It's been a long week. It's been a long year.
Well, thank you for listening, though, because I know you always listen,
Yes.
and we really appreciate your support for that. So
No.
thank you so much, because honestly, it's a pleasure for us to do it, and it's a pleasure if someone else gets some pleasure out of it as well. So honestly,
Oh.
it's fantastic. Make sure you all listen to the next episode as well, the end of year episode, because I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, no, check
Looking
them
forward
out.
to that.
I always like to pleasure myself listening to Paul Dalton.
You wouldn't be
That's
the
a
first,
different
and you're
website.
not going to be the last.
The dulcet tones.
when he pulls out 2 wheel brushes, you know you're in for a good time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Only 2.
Well,
I
the other
think,
one doesn't have the hip attachment yet, so
On that note, guys, I'm going to have to leave you.
We're going to have to
He's
call
running.
that a night, I think, guys.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having us on, Paul.
all
Thank you.
coming.
yes,
Thank
Thank
you for
you,
coming,
mate.
Paul. Thank
thank
you.
you for support.
Thanks for all of
Cheers,
you,
guys.
and hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and just
Happy
see
New
you all
Year.
next year. And Happy New
Bye.
Year. Have a good
Bye.
one.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.
It's a double